Is this affordable 4Runner build perfect? We'll find that out in today's video. I'll include a link to Orem Toyota's website in the description down below. They're providing us with this 4Runner. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 278 horsepower and then 317 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I would really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now, this metallic silver that you can get in the 4Runner, I think works really well with this particular build. That's because they've blacked out the badges, and they've also removed the dorky air dam, so it looks a lot better up front. And yeah, speaking of up front, I think that looks great. Now, this has a 2-inch level kit. Tire and wheel setup is 285 by 65 by 18, so that's a 33-inch tall tire. You also have the upgraded blacked out Toyota wheels. And when you add the level kit plus the tire and wheel setup, this thing looks really sharp from the side angle with the stance, and I don't know, the tires just look meaty on the 4Runner. And by the way, this particular 4Runner has the 3rd row. And then you already have the bronze badge and the blacked out 4Runner badge out back, so you don't have to black those ones out. But here's the rest of the rear of this 4Runner. Again, the outside I think looks absolutely incredible. This is an SR5, so you got slightly more basic trim inside. You are going to have the manually adjustable cloth seats, for example. They did add this cool heated seat setup, so it does have heated seats, but it has the 4Runner logo too, so it looks more OEM. This SR5 has an MSRP of $47,794, and then after all of the options that have been added to this, $52,899. Let's see how it performs. And let us see how this 4Runner performs. I will say something like this is far more exciting to me personally than a Tier D Pro. Like I think the fully loaded stuff is really cool to see, because it's like, oh, what are they doing when they have all the money thrown at it? But you know, this is the everyman's 4Runner, the SR5. This is something that is going to be a lot more common to see on the road, that again, the average Joe can actually afford to buy. Well, I guess we can't say the average Joe, because $50,000, although technically not crazy in today's car market, you know, for what the average person's making here in the US is kind of crazy. I sold cars for a few years before doing this YouTube stuff full time, and I can tell you that I've talked to people and things haven't changed all that much. The average person, like individual, made between $30,000 and $50,000. Like, just take any random person off the street, somewhere in that range. So this being over $50,000 is more than what most people make in an entire year. But people are willing to spend a little more money on Toyotas because they typically last longer. And I will say, my experience with my Land Cruiser with a 4-cylinder hybrid, it's been good. It seems like the 4-cylinders have done pretty well. There's been some things with the transmission, but the 4-cylinders for the most part have seemed to do pretty well. There's a big wreck over here, so this will slow us down a little bit, but we're still gonna do a little bit longer drive to see kind of how this performs. And if you're wondering, this is crazy because I saw the car still on the side. This Honda Civic got flipped onto its side. I don't know how, I don't know why. Because it's weird. I always see the worst accidents, it seems like they happen on days like this, where it's just completely sunny. You can see the whole side of the car's wrecked. But yeah, completely sunny, dry roads. Like, who knows? Who knows what happened? Maybe they're on drugs, probably. I feel like this engine has enough torque to move these tires pretty darn well. It seems like it's not struggling at all. Smooth too. Doesn't have quite as much torque as the hybrid version on the low end, but it's adequate. And again, when you compare it to a 5th gen 4Runner, this has a much stronger low end, although it doesn't sound as good, obviously. Not even close. Now, something that I do like about the new Toyotas is actually the steering. Now, I like the old steering for the feedback that it gives and kind of the more, let's say, kind of rugged driving experience. I have a 200 series Land Cruiser, so I like that. But I will say, this new electric rack doesn't bounce back or anything when you go over bumps, and so it actually is kind of a nice setup, especially when you put bigger tires, because if you have bigger all-terrain tires and then you pair that with a hydraulic steering rack, you know, the steering kind of bumps all over the place all the time. Whereas with an electric rack like this, it kind of stays more in line. So it's I don't know, I think it's a nice thing. I think it's a nice thing. Yeah, the ride quality is actually pretty good. The leveling kit doesn't seem to have changed that, and that's the thing that's nice about leveling kits versus lift kits. Leveling kits do change the travel a little bit, but not too much. Again, this is only 2-inch. So you still have plenty of down travel, so the ride quality still feels pretty rock solid. Doesn't drive like crap all of a sudden. And it brakes fine. You actually can fit tires this size on a stock 4Runner. You've got enough space in the wheel wells. But if you want to do kind of more of an aggressive offset and everything, and you want to have the stance, that's the biggest thing, is the leveling kit's less about tire fitment, and it's more about leveling out the stance so that it's a little bit more aggressive, so to speak. I will say these seats are nice. Man, Toyota will never do this, but I wish that we could get like a fully loaded off-road package from Toyota without the loaded up, and like this interior, but like TRD Pro capability. I'd be all over that. They'll never make it, but I think that'd be cool, because I actually like these cloth seats a lot. They feel durable, they feel well made. They actually feel better than the 5th gen cloth seats. Didn't feel good. The Softex felt great. The Softex felt like, you know, well built. The cloth, not so much. This new cloth feels a lot more high quality, I would say. Just another thing to kind of consider, I suppose. There is a bit of noise from these tires. It's not bad, but you hear them. Definitely hear them. Man, smooth ride. Truly. And these are the same tires that I have on my Grenadier. So I will say they are kind of a bit of a firmer setup. There's another 4Runner that had kind of an aggressive offset. I will say these new 4Runners, because of the more tapered, more angular design, they look really good with big tires. Really, really good. One of the best looking vehicles with big tires, in my opinion. Yeah, this is a nice ride. Get a little bit of wind noise, just like the Land Cruiser, which is interesting. You'd think that with a more sloped windshield it wouldn't be too much, but yeah, you still get a bit of buffeting up top. It's not bad though. So overall, this drives really well, and I think one of the biggest benefits with the new 4Runner and bigger tires is you got more space in the wheel wells, so you can fit bigger tires without having to actually lift it. The powertrain can handle the bigger tires, and the steering can handle the bigger tires better because it's an electric rack, and so it feels effortless to move the larger sized tires. The one downside is going to be fuel economy, right? We all know that. I don't get great fuel economy in my new Land Cruiser. With the bigger tires than this, you're not going to get the best fuel economy. But the benefit of the 4Runner over the Land Cruiser, if I remember right, it's got a slightly bigger fuel tank, so you know, you got that, especially when you get the non-hybrid. So although the fuel economy is not going to be as good, the bigger fuel tank's going to kind of help out with that. Let's actually see if there's something that says range. 14.9. I swear there's usually something that shows how much trip distance. Guys, I'm not the smartest. You always gotta remember that. I haven't played with this more basic gauge cluster, so I'm not as familiar with it. They've got to have something that shows the range. I'm just not looking in the right place. Huh. Shows me how far I've gone. But there's nothing that shows me how much fuel range. Huh. No, there is. I'm retarded. Sorry for the language. But I am kind of. Retarded means slow, mentally slow, and I definitely am. 28 miles of range with 1 bar. So not even, so 2 bars would be a quarter, it looks like. So it doesn't have a crazy amount of range. Doesn't have a crazy amount of range. Let me know what you guys think about this 4Runner build. I think that it is, I think it's cool. I think it looks great on the outside. I think it drives well. As long as you're willing to put up with the fuel economy and having to wring out the 4-cylinder a little bit more, it's a fun way to go.